You are watching this video because you are mentally weak and you easily react to the situations around you. And you take these situations and you convert it to like a rationalization of either wanting to quit or wanting to have lower or fewer intensity from that purpose that you're trying to fulfill right now. You have weak mental resilience. Or maybe you just want to get your mental resilience stronger. I don't know. I don't know your situation. But you are doing something great right now. You are watching this guide on how I built mental resilience, on how you can build mental resilience as well. And that's amazing because that's the first step. That is the first step. Self-awareness. You are realizing that you need to change. You're realizing that you need to straighten your mental space so that you can get from point A to point B. Most people can't even do that, bro, and you are already ahead from doing that. But getting on point, before I built mental resilience myself, bro, I was such a reactive person. Such a mentally weak person. Before I knew the importance and the value of having mental resilience in my life, I had very weak mental fortitude. Because either every time something didn't go my way or something didn't turn out the way I expected or something didn't happen the way it should have, I would complain, I would whine, I'll make these dumb rationales on why I shouldn't continue with X, Y, and Z and why I shouldn't do X, Y, and Z anymore. I would get complacent, slack off, or I guess before doing all those four things, or from the end of that, I would just quit. It was just a cycle of just weak mental resilience, no stoicism, and lack of discipline that always would end up creating a harder life for my future self. Every time I decided to quit on something, every time I decided to slack off because something didn't happen the way I wanted it to, or I had no leverage in the situation, I guess, I was in the situations I was in, I would always be left with terrible outcome from that. It'll always be bad. I'll always be left with outcome. And every time I was left with that outcome, it was always trash. It was never something that was actually very good. And it was just cycle, just rinse and repeat for a great long amount of time. And there'll be no change done. There'll be no outcome created. There'll be no input created. And I'll just be left with stagnance and progress in my life. So if this is you, first of all, you should be watching this guide to the fullest extent. Not because of, I want views or none of that. But I'm hoping that my advice will help you with mental resilience. Because all this advice I'm trying to apply right now, or I did apply before, obviously, because if I didn't apply this information, why would I be making a video on mental resilience? That's hypocritical. But yeah, I want you to watch this guide of mental resilience, and I want you to apply it into your life so you don't go into the same cycle of mediocrity from not having mental resilience. And I know some of you might be asking, what is the true importance of having mental resilience? Is there any importance in having mental resilience, or is it just an option? It's not. Mental resilience is a necessity. If you always let struggles in your life get you down and you don't use them as inner motivation to work, like the situations around you, you use them as inner motivation to work, but instead you use them to, again, either quit or just lower your intensity in your work and make yourself excuses and rationales on why you shouldn't push yourself anymore. If you keep doing that for a long amount of time, you will remain in the same spot for a long, long time, or forever. So, from that, I want you to watch this guide. I want you to kick your feet up, watch this guide on mental resilience, on how I built it, and how you can build mental resilience so that your future self can have a better life. Number 1, analyze where you're at. Because this is a very easy step that you can just do right now. Look around you. Look around your room. Look around you, the situation you're in. Look at your progress. Look at your physique. Look at your bank account. Look at all these things around you. And then ask yourself these questions. Can I afford to be mentally resilient? Can I afford not to be mentally resilient? Can I afford to slack off? Can I afford to quit? Can I afford to become complacent with my journey? Can I afford to not put in work when I need to be putting in work? Ask yourself these 5 questions. Most of the time, you're going to come to the outcome of no. You can't afford to not be mentally resilient. You need mental resilience. And the 1% of you that did say somehow that you don't need mental resilience in your life, then first of all, you don't even need to be watching this guide. I guess you're good, right? You're good, right? But the second thing is, I already respect you way less. I would respect you way less as a person now that you apparently said you don't need mental resilience. Because mental resilience is not just a showing of hard work, a showing of discipline, a showing of inner motivation, and getting stuff done because you just need to get it done. That's not just the purpose of mental resilience. Mental resilience is not just that. Mental resilience is also something outward. People will look at you and they'll see that, and they will respect you more, first of all, and they'll look at you as somebody that shows mental resilience, that adheres to becoming mentally resilient. You'll get respect, and you'll become a more you'll have more respect, pretty much. You'll have more respect, and you will become better. You could even say, as a man, if you want to position as like this, you could even say that it's a very high value trait for men to have. Because first of all, it will add personal growth to your life, it'll make your life better, and it will make people respect you more. And I think those are the 3 quotas for something to be high value as a trait, right? So if they get all these traits, which it did, it's a high value trait for men to have. So if you get mental resilience, you'll have all that, and you will feel more. You'll grow, and you'll feel better. And obviously, I'm gonna show you more benefits of mental resilience later in this video. So if you're not truly convinced on why you even need to build mental resilience, even though you did click on a video on how to build mental resilience, I will show you later on this video. And also, if you want to see all the other traits I've made about, or not made, but what I think is high value, I try to point out the 6 objective traits that men need in order to become high value in that video. So if you want, you can check it out. It'll be right there or right here. You can check it out right now. It'll pop up. And that video just went through all the traits that I meticulously tried to point out as objectively as possible that trait is high value. So if you see all these red pill high value videos and you're starting to get overwhelmed and just tired of seeing all this high value stuff go around, check out that video and you will see the 6 traits I think are high value, and those 6 traits are what I'm going to be trying to master later in my life. So if you want to check them out, check them out. And of course, another thing about analyzing where you're at is that you want to be where you are. You are here. You are right now, right? And you're ambitious, right? Hopefully, you're ambitious. You're in point A, and you want to get to point B, wherever that may be. If you just decide to slack off, if you decide to not put yourself through mental resilience or get mental resilience to doing that you're going to be left behind and you're going to fail in your vision eventually. You might have time to procrastinate here and there and here and there, and you might not really feel any repercussions for it. But imagine if you're procrastinating for a whole year. If you're procrastinating for a whole year, you're going to suffer the repercussions from it and you're going to be left in the same place. So this is the first thing you can easily do right now. Analyze where you're at and just tell yourself that you need to toughen up. And you tell yourself that you need to become stronger so that you can become so you can start becoming your best version of yourself, right? And you start getting yourself from point A to point B. Number 2, learn the art of pivoting. This is something that is extremely vital and pivotal for you to learn so that you can add on to your mental resilience journey. You need to learn the art of pivoting. And what is the art of pivoting? I'm going to show you. So pretty much what pivoting is that you're just going to, boxing, right? Like you pivot, move from there, right? Pivoting is pretty much just like that. But like how you can use pivoting and mental resilience is that you will have to dodge situations that come into your life, and you have to improvise and just go through life and do something different instead of just pretending like this outcome is the only outcome you can go to, right? So for example, I'm just going to give you a quick scenario that you can use right now. Or not use, but just think about right now. So imagine you are just imagine you go to a kitchen, right? You go to your kitchen and you made some food. You made some food for yourself. You meal prepped. You meal prepped a meal and you want to eat it later. So you put it in the fridge. You come back. You go back to whatever you're doing, and then a few hours later, you go back to the fridge, you try to look for your food, and it's gone. Somebody has eaten it. So what would you do to react? It's something small, right? It's something small and insignificant, but it's something annoying, right? It's something annoying. It was out of your control, and it's just something that wasn't ideal for you to happen. So you can do pretty much 3 things. You could either make this ruin your day and give you rationales to use for your day so you don't have to be productive anymore, right? The second thing you can do is that you could just inflate the issue and make it a bigger issue which is essentially just it's pretty much just 1 and 2 with the first situation. The third situation you can do is that you can move on and make something else or eat something else. That's essentially what pivoting is. You just move on from something that happened to you. Because, again, if you can't pivot and you have something happen to you and you are so mentally weak that when that happens to you, you just go into complete rationality, excuses, and you just shut down, right? You just shut down and you don't want to work. You don't want to do anything because you're so mad that this happened to you. That is something that needs to be changed. Because if you can't pivot, if you can't just go through situations in your life, and obviously that's very small, very insignificant compared to other situations you can be going through, that you absolutely need to pivot. If you don't go through these situations without any pivoting, without any I guess in the back in your mind, be fully aware that this could go wrong and you should have something in backup. Not a backup plan, but you should have, I guess, a exit door or something to do to get yourself out of this deficit. You do that, but you need to learn how to pivot. Yeah, this video ain't fine. You just need to learn how to adapt. You need to learn how to adapt to situations that go wrong in your life. That's pretty much what pivoting is. I don't know why I was saying the extra stuff, and I'm going to probably edit that out, and you're probably not going to hear that part, but yeah, you need to learn how to pivot. You need to learn to dodge situations that happen that's bad for you, and just kind of have that it is what it is mindset, if you know what that is. And another thing that, and obviously that's hard, you can't be doing it all the time, but what I have been trying to do so I can get myself to pivot faster and like pivot with precision and get myself to be leveled in the situations I'm in, is to pretty much use an acronym that I just made for a while back, ELM. And what that acronym means is, or stands for, is evaluate the situation, learn from it, move on. Now I'll just do that. At least I try to do that every time I'm in a rough or stressed or even stressful situation I'm in. So I'm just going to give a quick rundown of what me using that acronym, that same situation that we just talked about. So E would be evaluating the situation, realizing that it's not a big deal, realizing that worse things have happened to other people, worse things have happened to myself, and learning from it would mean putting it in the fridge and having my name tagged on it, or maybe even going so as far to get a mini fridge for myself so that I can assure myself that will never happen again. And moving on is essentially just moving on, not letting it ruin my emotions, not letting it ruin my day. Moving on, getting something else to eat, or just making it again. That's pretty much what I've been using for ELM. And if you want to be using ELM, or if you don't even have to use ELM, if you just want to just start pivoting, learning how to pivot, it's an amazing thing to do. And pivoting is not only just being an easygoing person and just letting things go with the flow. That's a good way to master pivoting. But another thing on how to master pivoting is that you need to be well aware of your situations, and you need to be constantly positioning yourself into the world and positioning yourself into other people. And I'll be talking about that later in this video. If you start doing that and just have in your mind that this is not a big deal, or if it is a big deal, learning how to just move on with stuff and learning how to straighten your mindset so that you can just let this happen to you and then go through all the struggle you need to go through to make sure that doesn't happen again, or reverse that, you will be good. So active pivoting, I'm probably making another video on this because this section's probably not going to really help much people because I'm just rambling at this point. But learning how to pivot is a very important thing to do, and you have to be pivoting for your self-improvement journey and for your mental resilience journey. It's a non-negotiable. Number 4, chase struggle. So this goes well with pivoting and goes well with analyzing where you're at. If you pivot all the situations you're in, and if you analyze in the situation you're in, the next thing you should be doing is you should be chasing voluntary discipline and voluntary struggle. Because most likely, you're probably in a situation to where you don't really need, well, not really need, but you don't really have struggling in your life. I hope not. But you don't really have struggles and discipline come to your life by force. We have to, honestly, because I'm talking to myself right now, but we have to voluntarily put ourselves through discipline and struggle, because where else are we going to get it? Because we're in a very privileged position. Because just realize how privileged you are and how privileged we are. We have water we can drink anytime, clean water for the most part. We have food, good food. We have AC, heat, all this stuff, clothing, the ability to work. And the device you're watching this video on right now is a sign that you're a very privileged person. And imagine, just compare your life to the 8 billion people that live in this world. Most likely, you are probably living your life in a top tier position